Diving into your next act or wondering what's ahead? Enjoy life as you change your path and embrace your authentic self.
Join me as we discuss the good, the bad, and the ugly of making big changes in your life. New directions both personally and professionally. Shake things up. But don't worry, you are not alone. On each episode, we'll be sharing stories, providing valuable information, and introducing you to others navigating their next act. So let's get inspired.
This is a Candy Factory Convo, Life in the Next Act with Gail Shane.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Life in the Next Act. Today, we are going to talk with Janelle Glick, wellness dietitian at Penn Medicine Lancaster General Health Wellness Center. Janelle will be discussing nutrition, strengthening the immune system, and reaching personal health goals. Janelle will also share a shift that led her to her own personal wellness journey. Janelle holds a Bachelor of Science degree in Nutrition and Dietetics from Messiah College and a Master of Arts degree in Nutrition Education from Immaculata University. Hello, Janelle.
Hi, Gail. Thanks so much for having me.
Well, thanks for being here. It's great to be with you. Janelle would just get right into it. I'm so excited to share and inspire and empower and inform. So, what led you into the field of nutrition and specifically wellness?
Well, when I was in my teen years, I just encountered that my body was changing significantly. And I think I was a little scared just of the rapid growth that typically happens, after puberty. And the one thing that I realized was that my eating was important and how much I exercised as well certainly played a role in that. So I was really fascinated with the field of nutrition and just started learning about it for myself personally. And then, looking at what kind of career to get into, I thought, I want to help people, but how can I combine something that with helping people along with something else that I enjoy? And so I thought, nutrition and dietetics would be probably a really good combination for that. And so sure enough, it has been an awesome career. I've been a dietitian since 2002. So, life just keeps rolling on. But specifically with wellness, I have always loved learning about how food and exercise, stress management, and just the things that we do in our life can help us to feel better today and also to prevent chronic diseases down the road. So that's really how I got into wellness.
And everybody thinks of wellness. It's so important. It's everything, that we care about. What was the shift in your life that led you from one place to another in your own personal wellness journey?
Well, as I mentioned, I always knew that exercise was so important for health. You're drilled from little on up that you need to move, that you need to be active. And, you learn the specifics in school about the number of minutes that you should be active and, working all these different parts of the body. And I always felt like I just didn't really want to do exercise. Like I just never really found an exercise that resonated with me. In fact, when I was in college, I disliked running so much that I said to my friends, I would rather take a test than run. I just really, really disliked it. And so I struggled with it. I knew it was important, but I just couldn't find exercise that I enjoyed, that I could stick with. Until Christmas 2006, I was sitting with my husband's family and we were talking about the new year and the upcoming year and things that we wanted to accomplish. And my family, my in-laws, sisters-in-law and brothers-in-law, they said, we should do a marathon next year. And I was like, what? I can't run a marathon. Like I've only really run like 5 miles and that was painful. I can't imagine running that far, but I like challenges. And so I just started running and I would often run on the work treadmill because it was available. It was the winter time, And so I just started running. And by February, I had run a half a marathon on the treadmill. And so I realized, you know what? I could probably run another 13.1 miles come fall. And so I just started training, and it worked out. I did my first marathon in Baltimore, went on the next year to Philly, and actually qualified for the Boston Marathon, and ran that in 2010 then. I had a 6-month-old baby, so it was a really big deal to be able to be there and to have my baby in the stroller. Obviously, I didn't push her the whole way, but I did meet up with my family. And it was just such a monumental experience in my life. And just to be able to see, just how a person can go from hating something so much to actually loving it and doing it for the last 13 years, and just sticking with it and really enjoying it. So it's just been a real sweet spot for me.
And are you still running marathons?
I'm not running marathons, but I normally set out to run a half marathon in the spring and then also in the fall. Unfortunately, 2020 kind of took away a lot of those goals for me, but hopefully next year.
And so as a health coach, what basis or foundation do you use when coaching? Just, with your background and your education and your love of running, what's your basis? What's your foundation?
Well, we learned at Lancaster General, the Wellness Center, about health coaching from a woman. Her name is Marilena Minucci, and she's a coach for coaches. And she did an awesome job explaining the importance of how people do best with behavior change when they're encouraged to do and start what they're wanting to do. I can have a whole list of things that I think that you should do, Gail, but in reality, you know yourself way better than I do. And so I just hold that place for my clients and say, you know yourself best. What is the one thing that you're willing to work on right now? And that's the best place to start conversation, because like I said, everybody knows themselves a lot better than I do. And so we base it on motivational interviewing. So it's a lot of listening. It's a lot of asking questions and leading them. Like, I hear you talking about this. It sounds like that's something that maybe you'd like to change, and then leading on from there.
So someone contacts you, you want to move forward. They want to move forward with improvements in their own wellness journey. You start with just that discovery. And everyone is different. And I guess they come in and they're different ages, different weight. They have weight goals and nutrition goals. I mean, how do you wrap it all up?
I think the one thing about wellness coaching is to realize that everybody is on a journey. And, we start with 3 sessions usually, but that's just kind of getting the ball rolling for a lot of people. It takes a while to make changes for all of us. And some of these behaviors have been ingrained for decades. And so making change it's a slow and steady process. So realizing that it's a journey. It truly is a journey. And so just getting started, making those goals. We talk a lot about SMART goals. So specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely, so that people really know what they're going to work on, and making those goals so manageable that they don't fail. Because a lot of us set goals and they're so lofty, and then we don't end up being successful with them. And so we just throw in the towel and move on to something else, or really just give up.
Well, Janelle, what do you enjoy most about working with your health coaching clients?
Well, you alluded to it. I love the variety. The fact that everybody comes from a different place, brings different experiences, has different goals. Some people have food allergies, or, they're trying to stay on a particular type of diet, or, maybe they're diabetic, or maybe they're looking to lose 100 pounds, whatever it might be. I just meet them there.
And everyone has different personalities. And so who is your ideal coaching client?
Well, the person that's ideal is really someone who is willing to make changes, that they know that they want to make changes and they have that inspiration to begin. Most people that contact me, they are already in that mindset that they want to make changes and they're willing to ask for help, which is a big deal. A lot of us think, oh, I can do this myself. I know exactly what I need to eat. But the reality is that you just need some accountability most times, even though you know what to eat. In fact, I don't do a lot of education. I mean, I do some, but a lot of it is just helping people to find their path and helping them to discover, okay, you know what? I do really need some more water in my life. I need some more vegetables and I need to move more and, just kind of getting that ball rolling and helping to hold them accountable. Because like I said, a lot of them already know what they need to do. It's just a matter of doing it.
How do you meet with your clients now? Is it on the phone? Is it in person? Is it what other format?
Yeah. So most people I talk to on the telephone because it's just easy. There's really no limitations there. People can talk on their lunch breaks or, in the evening at home, whatever it might be. I do have an office at the hospital. And so some of the employees do come to visit with me there. And so we can meet in that space, which is nice and private. But it's really whatever works for people and their schedules and just try to make it work for both of us.
Janelle, a lot of people already know what we should do to improve our wellness. We read blog posts, we read news articles, we Google all day long. So why should someone seek out a health coach?
Well, I think, like I said, a lot of times we just need that accountability. And, it is hard to make changes happen. And when you do have more in-depth questions about nutrition education and information, because there is so much information out there, Gail, like you think about all of the information online, it's just layer upon layer upon layer. And it's hard to know what to believe. There's this diet and that diet and all these diets that are the answer to everything, supposedly. However, most times diets don't work. And so, health coaching, again, it meets people where they're at and it helps them to find their own path instead of trying to piece things together. So it's finding their own path, but also being led, having somebody to help to guide you along on the path that's going to make the most sense. I base my information on science, not just, Joe Schmo says. So.
Well, I think you're right about accountability. People need it. It's hard to do it on your own. I think a lot of people get stuck in their wellness journey or their weight loss goals. What keeps your clients from moving forward or just getting stuck?
Mm-hmm. I think a lot of it has to do with the way that they think. When you have a lot of negative thoughts, unfortunately, the diet culture breeds negative thoughts. When people fail, they blame themselves rather than blaming the diet. I didn't do the diet right. I had a bad weekend. I ate too many calories. It was my fault. They all blame themselves. And that perpetuates this cycle of eating, feeling badly, and then committing to doing something different, doing it just right. And it just keeps going around and around and around. And unfortunately, people they get stuck then thinking that I can't get this right and I'm never going to get it right. And so, I just feel like people need to give themselves a lot of grace. And I always extend a lot of grace to my clients. We're never going to be perfect, but we're all on a journey. And so just encouraging them to keep going, stay on the wagon. A lot of people get off the wagon. They fall off the wagon and they stay off the wagon. And I just encourage people, get right back on the wagon. You don't have to wait until Monday. there's another meal coming up, just start right again. So that's another thing. It's just getting people off of the mentality that they messed up so badly that they can't do it right.
So it's okay to fall off. Just pick yourself right back up and get back on.
Mm-hmm.
Janelle, let's talk about some tips that our listeners can embrace for improving their health at various ages. What tips would you give to a 30-something person who's looking to improve their health?
Well, looking to make sure that you're eating healthy and staying active. I mean, those are the basic things. Mental health is also something that a lot of people are paying a lot more attention to. And I think, this year has brought a lot of attention to the need for mental health, just attention to it, and making sure that people are addressing their triggers for depression, anxiety, and any other kind of mental health issues. So I think just, taking care of those things, making sure that you're getting to your physician, for women, making sure that they're having their annual exams and things like that is really important. A lot of women in their 30s are, in the midst of childbearing years. And so just really staying on top of ways to take care of themselves while they're mothering, parenting, all of that. Some of the important things of taking care of their own wellness can go to the wayside when they're, pouring out all their attention on taking care of their young children.
Sure. And what changes in the 40s that people should know what to do?
Yeah. So with exercise, it's really important, of course, to stay active, but, watching looking at how you can include some strengthening exercises in addition to just cardio. You want to make sure that you're doing bone strengthening exercises, and that just continues on through the decades, because as our bones get older, they're more likely to deteriorate and we can encounter osteoporosis. So it's important to make sure that you're including those strengthening exercises. And the strengthening actually can be helpful in managing weight a little bit better as well, because as we have more muscle mass, we can actually help to burn more calories even at rest. So it's an added benefit in addition to cardio. So I always encourage people to do that as well.
Okay, now we get into the 50-something. What do we suggest?
Yeah. So in the 50s, you're dealing with, for women, a lot of menopause issues and hormone shifts. And, I think it's really a new time for women. We think about menopause and just the challenge of weight management. I have a lot of clients that struggle with their weight in menopause. And so a lot of times it's just taking it up a notch, and really honing in on the diet and making improvements. So if there's ways to, cut out the sugar, or, just the alcohol or whatever might be extra empty calories, just trying to look to cut back on things, and, to make sure that there's plenty of protein and fiber in the diet that can help them to feel satisfied with fewer calories.
And the 60s?
Yeah, well, the 60s bring a lot of, shifts as well with life and change in terms of maybe getting out of the workforce and moving into a new time of life as well. And so I think with 60-year-olds, looking to embrace the next thing. What is it that you want to finish out well? You still have hopefully a couple of decades, but how can you wrap up your career and really finish well? I think looking to do those things that maybe you didn't have time to do, that can really boost your mental health and, lower your stress levels, and looking for ways to volunteer and give back, maybe even starting a little side business or something else that would just, kind of be a nice way to go from the working field to something else.
The next act.
The next act, exactly.
I'm going to keep going. What can we suggest to the 70-something?
Yeah. So for the 70 somethings, I think, doing things together socially is really important. Staying socially active as well as physically active and, looking for ways to really maximize your nutrition, I think it's really important for the 70-year-olds to make sure that whatever you're eating is really the best nutrition, to help with preventing the chronic disease. Maybe they do have a chronic disease, so maybe it's managing that, but maybe they don't have a chronic disease. And so, all the more reason to make sure that they're eating really well and exercising so that they don't develop the diabetes, the heart disease, the things that are so common, that, take a lot of us.
All right, Janelle, maybe they should be giving you the tips, but what do you suggest to an 80 to 100-year-old something person who's looking to improve their health?
This is great. Every week I have lunch with my neighbor and he is 91. And I glean a lot of great wisdom from him. And so, for him, it's just keep moving. He's a gardener and I see a lot of joy as he is digging. Like he would actually come down to my yard and dig my garden if I let him. It's amazing. So, getting out, social lives are so important. He has lost a lot of his good friends. And so I just see him embracing the younger friends that he has because that's what he has left, as well as family. But I think, making sure that you have friends. So going out of your way to make new friends if you need to, so that you're still socially active and physically active as you're able, managing those, chronic conditions. It's really, really important in the 80s, 90s, 100.
Yeah, people are living a long time.
Yes.
If you could give one wellness tip for all, what would that be?
One wellness tip. Well, a common one that I talk about with all my coaching clients is whether they're eating their fruits and vegetables. And I know that seems so basic, but most of us Americans do not eat enough. And, you mentioned immune health. And when we think about taking care of our bodies and really defending against chronic disease, but also acute illness, we need things in our body, nutrients, vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, things that will fight against those invaders, those things that are going to make us sick. And so fruits and vegetables have the most of those things compared to any other thing that we eat. So it's really important that we eat lots of fruits and vegetables every single day. So that would be my one tip. Make sure that you're getting your fruits and vegetables.
And a lot of variety. What if you're just a fan of oranges or a fan of spinach? I mean, how much variety do we need?
Well, the variety is key. I mean, when we have variety, the reason that variety is so important is because when you choose different foods with different colors, especially, you're getting all different nutrients. So if you just eat spinach or you just eat oranges, you're only getting that narrow, little range of vitamins and minerals. And so when you broaden that, you're going to get a whole host of different nutrients. So that's why it's really important to have variety. So if I have a client that says I only eat oranges, I would encourage them to try something else. Just keep trying. Maybe you can mask the taste of something with a smoothie, or like I do for my kids, puree soup. There's lots of different ways to eat fruits and vegetables. And we just sometimes need to be creative and try different things.
And they have to be accountable.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
You need to know, they keep a diary or...
Yeah, a lot of people will log their food. That's just a way for themselves to stay on track. There's a lot of great online apps like MyFitnessPal is one, or Lose It. There's lots of different apps out there where you can log your food, and then that way you know how many calories you're taking in and what you're eating. And you can also kind of see, how many fruits and vegetables am I getting, and that sort of thing. Cups of water, as well as other things that you may be eating or drinking that are either beneficial or not so good for your health. And then you can identify like, oh, I didn't even realize that I always eat, a cookie after dinner or something. What else could I have instead of that?
Well, it's funny you mentioned that, Janelle. You have a recent blog post on the LG Health Hub called How to Boost Your Immune System with Nutrition. It talks about staying hydrated. It talks about foods to load up on, including those fruits and vegetables. And it talks about limiting junk food. Mm-hmm. Is chocolate a junk food?
Well, dark chocolate in my book is not, Gail. In fact, I like to use dark chocolate as my little sweet at the end of my meal. I grew up in Pennsylvania Dutch land eating dessert. My mom was a great baker, is a great baker, but we all kind of ended that when my dad's cholesterol got too high. And so I have a sweet tooth, but honestly, that little piece of dark chocolate, it does it for me. And I try to keep those individually wrapped ones around, so I'm not tempted to go back for, more of the big bar.
So that helps.
It does help. Yeah.
Portion control, one chocolate. It should be dark. How about dark chocolate smothered over a butter cookie?
Not as healthy because of the butter and the flour and the sugar. But every once in a while, I like to say that everything in moderation, but 3 cookies every day is not moderation. So
okay, one chocolate dark after every meal, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. No. Maybe save the breakfast chocolate for after dinner and you can have 2. No. Okay. Moderation is the
moderation. Key. Yeah.
Janelle, how about sharing something about you besides your career? Which nonprofit do you feel passionate about and why?
Well, I'm really passionate about the Girl Scouts. I am a troop leader. My daughter is a junior in a troop, and I've been leading a troop now for 3 years. This will be the start of my 4th year. And I really love Girl Scouts. I was never a Girl Scout growing up, but, I had different groups of girls that we would do different activities and things. And my daughter asked to join Girl Scouts, and there wasn't a troop in our area. And so I just thought about it some more, and I thought, this would be a really great opportunity for me to not only speak into her life and to show how I can lead people, but also that, she can just be in a great group and have lots of inspiration. I love that Girl Scouts inspires girls to become powerful women. And we're going to learn all about that and practice ways that we can even transform our community in powerful ways. And so I'm really excited about this year as a Girl Scout leader and also for our troops. So I just love Girl Scouts, and I'm happy to share about it today.
They've come a long way, the Girl Scouts.
They sure have. Yes.
I love their mission statement. Is there a fundraiser coming up that you might want to promote?
Sure. Yeah. There's actually a fall fundraiser. So if you know of a Girl Scout in your area, or you're interested in donating, you can certainly do that. And just be on the lookout for those Girl Scouts. They'd be happy to sell you something.
We have a listener that has a question. Thank you, Karen Lee Morgan. How important is cutting back on salt and sodium as we get older?
Karen, that's a great question. It is really important. When we look at the sodium guidelines for people that are older and those that have more chronic conditions like heart conditions or issues with their blood pressure, really anybody that has any of those chronic conditions, kidney disease, diabetes, we should be on the lookout for sodium. And sodium is in a lot of processed food. And so you really need to start reading those nutrition labels. I encourage people to switch away from the processed, start making things on your own, because nearly everything that's processed has sodium added to it as a preservative. So even things like condiments, your salad dressing, even things like bread and, just lots of prepared foods, things that come in a can, box, or bag, a lot of them have a lot of sodium. And so it really adds up quickly. And the thing that you should know is the nutrition facts label is based on 2,400 milligrams. That is for healthy people, not for those that are older and have chronic conditions. So it's important to cut back on salt, on sodium, and really watch those processed foods.
Well, you have given us a wealth of information, and I thank you so much for being with us. You can reach Janelle at 717-544-2425 or Janelle Glick at gmail.com. And I'd like to leave you with this. Gratitude shifts everything. Be thankful. Forgiveness sets you free. It really does. You cannot change others, only yourself. Little acts of kindness are never little, ever. Join us next time as we aim to inspire, empower, and inform. Life in the Next Act is a proud member of the Candy Factory Collective. You can find the show streaming on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and LinkedIn. And you could subscribe to the audio version anywhere you get your podcasts.
Gail has experienced many acts over the years. Living a full life, she is a mother of 2 and grandmother of 3, and currently calls Lancaster, PA home. An entrepreneur at heart, she's owned several businesses, hosted a popular radio show, and has written for prominent publications highlighting nonprofits. While she holds her real estate license in Florida and PA, she believes her true calling is giving others a voice.
Learn more about Gail at gailshane.com. Life in the Next Act is produced by the Candy Factory Collective at the Candy Factory Coworking Campus in Lancaster, PA. Production support by Jason Mundok and Anna Tran. Administrative support by Ann Kirby, Arianna Henderson, and Krisha Martzall. Notes and links can be found on the show post at our website, candyfactorycollective.com. Candy Factory. Collective.